Good morning. Let's start today's discussion. Fine. Done. Good morning. Let's start the discussion for today. So to start with, okay. So going to the topic uh, regarding the conflict between the central government and the Mizoram government on receiving the refugee from Myanmar. As you all know, Myanmar is right now being ruled by a military junta, and the junta, as it has taken control over the administration, that led to large number of refugees, so leaving the country and taking asylum in different countries, including India. Fine. India has taken a lot of refugees from Myanmar since the military coup that was just after the last election, when the election mandate in favor of the Democratic Party called the National League for Democracy, led by Aung San Suu Kyi, was not recognized by the military ruler, and the military, in the name of unfair practices in the election, so took control of the administration. There has been an influx of people into Mizoram since the Myanmar army seized power. Okay, many of them are democracy activists belong to the Chin ethnic group. So those who have migrated to India as refugee, okay, they are the democracy activists. That means these are supporter of the NLD, National League for Democracy, led by Aung San Suu Kyi. In refugee terms, there is no real difference between the Rohingya and the new arrivals. So normally, when it comes to refugee from Myanmar, so it is called the Rohingya refugees. So Rohingya are the Muslims, okay, living in the Rakhine province of Myanmar, and the majority of these people in Myanmar, including the military majority, are from they belong to the Buddhist. So there is atrocity on the Rohingya. So the Rohingya in for the survival of their life, so on the safety of their life, they have migrated. Okay, and that is what the Rohingya are not at all. So Rohingyas are migrating, and along with that, this other ethnic Chin ethnic group, they are also migrating to India. Rohingyas are not coming that number to India, rather they are going to Bangladesh, being a Muslim country. Fine, Rohingya being Muslims. So majority of the millions of Muslim that Rohingyas, they have migrated to Bangladesh. Both have fled the Myanmar army, although in different circumstances. The only difference is that the Myanmar accept one lot as citizens, while it rejects Rohingya who are stateless. So this Chin ethnic group are accepted by the authority there as citizen of Myanmar, but the Rohingya are called as stateless citizens, and they are not received back by the Myanmar authority. Fine. So agreement led to the free movement along the largely unfenced Mizoram Myanmar border. People from both the sides have traditionally moved in and out freely. So we have a free movement agreement between the Myanmar and the Mizo people in the border. Okay, the free movement regime in 2018 between India and Myanmar legalized this practice of free movement of the person between Myanmar and Mizoram. Fine. It has facilitated ease of movement, wherein large number of borderlands routinely cross over on either side for work and meet relatives. So, because of this ethnic proximity, they are allowed to move from both the sides, and either they came for work or came to meet their relatives staying on the other side of the border. Fine. So, Mizoram is caught between a humanitarian urge and India's policy on refugee. Okay, so because the state of Mizoram, so it is just being held up in between the two. Okay, what are the things? Only the humanitarian issue, whether on humanitarian ground, so they will be giving the right to allow the people in inside the territory, or Indian stand on the refugee called the refugee coming from Myanmar. Fine. There is also a fairly long history of mutual empathy and solidarity between the Mijos and the Chins. Fine. So, okay, one more thing. The Mizo favors providing refuge to the Chins who are ethnically related to the majority Mizo in the state. Because of their ethnic proximity, the Mijos allow the Chin ethnic majority people to come to India and stay in the state of Mizoram. From 1960 to 1980, the Chin people extended open support and sanctuary to the members of the Mizo National Front who were fighting for secession from Indian Union. So, these northeastern insurgent group, especially from Mizoram, so they were given asylum, or they are given support by the the Chin people inside Myanmar. So, in return of that, when they are in trouble, the Mizo people inside India, they also try to provide them support. Okay. Similarly, when the Chin were subjected to brutal repression at the hands of the junta regime during the 1988 pro-democracy movement in Myanmar, the Mizo extended the helping hand, and those among whom who came to India, they are given shelter by the people in Mizoram. Recently, the Myanmar government has started issuing identity cards to Myanmarese refugees who have taken shelter in the northeastern states. This is a recognition that in future, if the situation improves, they will be allowed to go back to their own homeland. Okay, to Myanmar. Okay, but is government stand on this? Okay, so the Minister of Home Affairs has made it clear that India is not a signatory to the 1951 UN Convention relating to the status of refugee and the 1967 protocol thereon. Therefore, it is issue an advisory to stay alert and take appropriate action to prevent a possible influx into Indian territory, and further reminding the northeastern states of Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Nagaland, Mizoram that share borders with Myanmar, that they have no power to grant refugee status to any foreigner. So this is government, because handling refugee is the power of the central government, because foreign affairs is the union list, and union government can only make law on this, and state governments are not allowed to make any special policy regarding the refugees. So similarly, so in accordance with that, the central government has issued advisory to the states, the northeastern region, that they should not take any policy stand on the refugee, so transgressing their own power, because they are not authorized to take any policy decision on the refugee. Fine. The okay, it issue advisory to say to stay alert and take appropriate action to prevent possible influx into Indian territory, and further reminding northeastern states of Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Nagaland, Mizoram that share borders with Myanmar, that they have no power to grant refugee status to any foreigner. Fine. This is because granting refugee status to any foreigner is the exclusive right of the government of India, only by government of India. State government don't have any right to grant refugee status to anyone migrating from foreign country, because external affairs. So that is a domain of the central government and is in the union list. Fine. So moving forward, we can say that conclusion and way forward, the contrast in the response of the two government emanates from the security centric approach of the center and the people centric focus of the Mizoram government. Right, two things. So contrast in the response of the two government emanate from the security centric approach of the central government, because the central government is worried about the security aspect. So national security will be affected if the number of refugee from Myanmar are entering into India. This will be a security concern. But the people-centric focus of the Mizoram government, they want to provide support to the Chin ethnic group, so who are of Mizo origin, and that is why. So they have a soft corner towards them, and they are giving them asylum. But giving asylum to refugee is not the power of the state, any state government in Indian constitution. Fine. It appears that the center has probably guessed the sensitivity of the issue from the vantage point of the Mizo, and has somewhat softened its aggressive posture towards both the Mizoram government and the Chin refugee after more than 1 year of this stay in the state. some Chin refugees, so Chin ethnic refugee from Myanmar are staying in Mizoram, but the central government has not made its stand so much rigid on them because it know the its psychology, its impact on the Mizo people who are close to the Chin ethnic group. Fine. Are the largest so it may do even better by going to a refugee and helping the state government sustain the relief work, which latter might not be able to carry out on its own in the long term. Rather, central government is providing some support to the state government regarding managing the refugees. Okay, so because central government has not hardened its stand on the refugee as far as the refugee of this Chin ethnic group to Mizoram is concerned from Myanmar. Okay, as the largest democracy in the world, India must reach out to the freedom fighters in Myanmar who are spreading a civil disobedience movement to restore what was until recently regime democracy. So this is what India can do at the international level. Okay, democracy should be promoted in Myanmar, not a military rule. There is a need to ensure the continued economic development of northeastern states. Okay, then Myanmar is the gateway to Southeast Asia and as such a vital trade partner for India and the only neighbor with which India shares both a land and sea border. Fine. So you see, so Myanmar is strategically important from India, and India has started very developmental initiative including port development activity in Myanmar because it is India's entry to Southeast Asia. Okay, it is also an important ally in combating extremism and insurgency because Myanmar government so few years back allowed Indian military to take action against the northeastern insurgents. So taking shelter in the forest area inside Myanmar, where government of Myanmar permitted Indian military to conduct military operation. Okay, so this is you see this is very unique because one country allowed the military of another country to conduct military operation inside its territory. Okay, so to destroy the training camps and the launch pads of the extremists who are taking those means who have used those territory in Myanmar as their sanctuaries. Fine. And the Indian government never highlighted that in the media that we have done surgical strike inside Myanmar, what they have done in case of Pakistan. Because in that case, the Myanmar government allowed the government of India to conduct such operation to destroy the training camps and the facilities created by the people or the is the that extremist elements of northeastern secessionist group inside the geographical boundary of Myanmar, and Indian army entered into that area and destroyed the camps. Fine. So that was permitted by the Myanmar government because from this it can be guessed that what is the closeness of the relationship between the two government, and by which one sovereign government allowed the military of another country to attack or enter and destroy the secessionist camp inside its own territory. Okay. Myanmar, then it is also an important ally in combating extremist and insurgency. Crucially, India's approach to the situation in Myanmar needs to be understood through the lens of competition with China. You know, China has emerged as another competitor of India in entering into Myanmar because as extending its sphere of influence, China also has also started developing good relationship with Myanmar and try to be close to the establishment there and launch developmental work. But the Chinese approach has been well established in the last 3 4 years. So through this Belt Road Initiative or other projects, so China policy of indebtedness, okay, making the country totally dependent and thereby taking asset of their country to its control has been well exposed, and the Chinese hidden agenda is right now very clear before the global community, and this has given India a wider scope to be close with Myanmar establishment, and India being the largest democracy in the world always try to promote democracy, and it will be in the interest of Myanmar also if India try to promote democracy in Myanmar and this Chin ethnic group, so they get back their due rights in Myanmar and they are returned back to the country, right? And our ethnic composition, our the close ethnic allies of the Chin ethnic group, the Mijos inside Mizoram, don't feel that the closely ethnic group of their allies are suffering in the hands of a foreign ruler. Fine. Then comes the second topic, which very important from the ecological and wildlife point of view, wildfires in Europe. Okay, so Europe is in the grip of wildfire. Okay, so recently European countries like France, Greece, Portugal, and Spain have been battling intense wildfires. Okay, so Europe is battling intense wildfire with thousands of hectares of forest land burned into the ground amid a scorching or a heat waves. The blaze forced thousands from their homes and killed several emergency personnel. It is the second heat wave engulfing parts of southwest Europe in weeks. Okay, and so this is a big concern because few years back there is Amazon fire, and fire is a regular event in Indian forest. So similarly in Europe, so many countries are right now being affected by wild forest fires. Okay, so what are the reasons behind this? Right. So why these fires? Why wildfires? What it requires? Right climatic conditions, dry climate lead to fire. Then vulnerable fuels and spark. These three are the requirements for any wildfire. Okay, climate condition in Europe. As for Europe, the region has been hit by an early fire season due to an unusually dry hot spring that left the soil parched. Authorities attributed this to climate change because this a cool climate of Europe has become hot due to the climate change, and climate change has its own impact. Okay, and which has resulted in increasing incidence of wildfire in Europe in the recent period. Okay, it's not new for last few years. So Europe is witnessing the incidence of forest fire, and the major reason behind is the dryness in the atmosphere that led to the soil becoming drier and the leaves falling from the tree, providing an ideal condition from the spread of the starting of this wildfire and its rapid spread. Rapid spread is because of the that prevailing weather conditions, dry weather conditions, which facilitate this wildfire to start and to spread. Fine. Then, then they add that fires are being fanned by either the unusual extreme temperatures and drought condition in some part. Okay, so climatic conditions or drought-like conditions always facilitate wildfire because when the weather became dry, okay, due to the prevailing conditions, so that facilitate the number of wildfires to increase or incident of wildfire to increase because of the conditions is congenial or favorable for the starting and spread of wildfire in the region. So normally this incident is growing due to the impact of climate change in the recent past. Climate change has its own impact around the globe. So Europe is no exception to that. Okay. So because of the uh, dry spell being for large period, so that is a region for rising wildfire. Fine. Then comes rising. So vulnerable fuel. So rising temperature suck moisture out of plants, creating an abundance of dry fuels. Because of the dry weather, so there is abundance of dry dryness in the plants, and dry fuels like leaves and branches drying and falling on the ground that provides an ideal condition for wildfire to start and to spread. Fine. And drought and high heat can kill plants and dry out dead grass and other materials on the forest floor that fuels the fire once it starts sweeping through the patch. Because of the prevailing or the abundance of these dry fuels due to the dryness in the atmosphere, so number of leaves, branches are there drying and falling on the ground. They provide the most ideal condition for the starting of this wildfire and its rapid spread without any interruption because it get a ideal condition for its spread. So due to the availability of dry bundles. Okay. Then the spark sometimes caused by lightning and other times by accident or reckless of the local population. In 2018, fire in California in the USA, for instance, was started when a truck blew out its tire and its rims scraped the pavement, sending out the spark. So small incident, a small truck accident led to wildfire. This is because the already the condition is so favorable for the wildfire that a slight spark can aggravate the situation. This is what it was not earlier because climatic conditions in those areas was quite cool and fire was a very remote incident in those areas. But climate change has led to drastic change in the availability of this dryness in the area. Okay, so that led to that that a favorable condition of wildfire spreading like the spreading in the areas. Okay, in Europe. Fine. Then moving further, you can say, okay, so it is not only Europe, but many other countries are also in the grip of wildfire due to climate change. So in these circumstances, we have to be more extra careful because if human beings are not taking extra precaution, this incident of wildfire will increase and that will damage or destroy our wildlife and forest. Okay, this is a big worry for all. Then comes Blockchain and Crypto Asset Council. Recently, the Internet and Mobile Association of India, the industry body representing the top internet companies and tech platforms, has dissolved a key unit set up for 4 years ago to do public advocacy for the cryptocurrency and blockchain sector, which was known as the Blockchain and Crypto Asset Council. Okay, the Blockchain and Crypto Asset Council was created by the Internet and Mobile Association of India. Okay, as a body to look after this particular domain. Okay, the BACC acted as an umbrella entity for over a dozen crypto and blockchain companies. Okay, so companies to means liaison with the government. Okay, it has been created for that. Aims it represents Indian crypto industry players such as CoinSwitch, Kuber, Wajerix, Coin DCX, okay, JPay, BitBNX. So all these are means those who are promoting bitcoins in the country, okay, and blockchain technology in the country. So it was to regulate these entities in India. Okay, what is the aims? It represent okay code of conduct. It introduced a code of conduct for all crypto platforms to allow to follow, which was likely to be updated to avoid run-in with regulators. Fine. It was created for this purpose. Fine. Issue. The move is another blow to India's crypto industry because cryptocurrency is not being that well accepted by the government of India in its own dealings or its for its own policy. Although recently in the new budget, government has allowed crypto investment and tax 30%. Okay, so we cannot forget the time when government of India through the RBI imposed ban on dealing in cryptocurrency. Fine. So it is just but government realized although it has imposed a ban, but crypto investment in India has increased and crypto gain and India became at the first within the first 10 in crypto gains around the world for the last financial year. Okay, gain from investing in the cryptocurrency. That's called the crypto gain. If Indians are gaining from the crypto investment, definitely they'll be attracted to invest in the cryptocurrency. That compelled to government to make the changes in the new budget by which they decided that the persons can invest in crypto currencies, but their return will be taxed at 30% as tax on the crypto investment. Fine. Uncertainty. The association would like to utilize its limited resources for other emerging digital sectors which make a more immediate and direct contribution to digital India. Fine. And notably, deepening financial inclusion and promoting central bank issue digital currency. Fine. Then the monetary stability, the RBI has taken a view that private cryptocurrencies threaten the monetary stability of the country. Tightening of the norms, the proposal to dismantle the this agency VACC has been under consideration at the IAMIA for some time, given the increasing tightening of the norms for crypto players by the government and the stand taken by the RBI on the crypto issue, because the RBI is already discouraging investment in the cryptocurrency. Then the Celsius network, okay, the US crypto leader Celsius network, which froze withdrawal last month, has filed for bankruptcy in New York, becoming the last victim of the crypto winter. Fine. Crypto winter means that right now investment in crypto is not that remunerative, so it is called the crypto winter because return from crypto investment has started falling. So the craze for crypto has started falling because the return from crypto has started falling globally. Okay, and RBI is not in favor of cryptocurrency, although RBI is in favor of the digital currency. RBI exploring distributed ledger technology-based central bank digital currency. Under the distributed ledger technology, details are recorded in the multiple places at the same time. For example, blockchain is just one type of distributed ledger, but RBI has a more detailed distributed ledger by which it want to regulate the trading in the central bank digital currency. So, but CBDC. The central government in the budget has promoted or floated the idea of CBDC, central bank C digital currency. Okay, it is called the central bank digital currency by RBI. Fine. So it can be converted, it should be regulated by the RBI, so it will be controlled by the RBI, its value will be controlled by the RBI, and so it will be under control. Can be converted exchange at par with the similar denominated cash. Fine. So that is what about the crypto and government's idea and why they decided to ban the organization created to create the okay, all the blockchain and crypto asset council has been dismantled by the who are dismantled by the okay by the mobile internet mobile association of India IAMAI. Fine. Then coming to the next is called about the millets. Millets are the new food of the millennium. Okay, Niti Aayog and the World Food Program India will launch the Mapping and Exchange of Good Practices initiative for mainstreaming millets in Asia and Africa. They'll prepare a compendium of good practices for scaling up the production of the consumption of millet in India and abroad. Okay, because we have learned the millet mission and 2023 will be observed as the United Nations years of millet. Okay, as per India's proposal, India right now want to promote millet around the world. About millet, it is a common term to categorize small seed grasses that are often termed cereals or dryland cereals and include sorghum, pearl millet, ragi, small millet, foxtail millets, proso millets, barnyard millets, and podo millets, okay, among others. They are also hardier and drought resistant crop, okay, grown in the dry areas. Millets can grow in poor soil conditions with less water, fertilizer, and pesticides because they are compatible. Okay, they can withstand higher temperature, making the perfect choice in the climate smart as climate smart cereals. Fine. So, global distribution of millets, if you think of the global distribution, the think of the global distribution of millets. India, Nigeria, and China are the largest producer of millet in the world, according to the accounting for more than 55% of the global production. The three countries only: India, Nigeria, and China are the three major producers of millets. And right now, Africa has so dramatically Africa has joined this group. Okay, for how many? For many years, India as a major producer of millet. However, recent years, millet production has increased dramatically in Africa. Okay, and they have started using millets and producing it more. In India, pearl millet is the fourth most widely cultivated food crops after rice, wheat, and maize. Fine. Millet are available almost across India in different names and they are used as a food grain by many people in the country. And right now government is trying to add millet to the main that menu of the people because of its health benefit and nutritional value. Coming to the benefit of millets, millet can also help in tackling health challenges such as obesity, diabetes, lifestyle problems, as they are gluten free, have a low glycemic index, and are high in dietary fiber and antioxidants. So that's why they're good for health. Millet are cereals that are highly nutritious and known to have high nutrient content, which includes protein, essential fatty acids, dietary fiber, B vitamins and minerals such as calcium, iron, zinc, potassium, and magnesium. That means highly enriched. It can provide nutritional security and protect against nutritional deficiency, especially among the children and women. Fine. It will also be critical for climate change measures in dry lands and important for smallholders and marginal farmers. Fine. Because you know that climate change has a big impact on productivity, but millets are not going to be that drastically affected by the impact of climate change. So government is promoting millet. And fortunately, accepting Indian proposal, United Nations have accepted 2023 as year of millets. Fine. And India has observed prior to this as year of millet 2019 and has been promoting millets. Okay. ଯାହାକୁ ଆମେ ଓଡ଼ିଆରେ ମାଣ୍ଡିଆ ବୋଲି କହୁଛେ. So popularly ଆମେ ଓଡ଼ିଆରେ ତାକୁ ମାଣ୍ଡିଆ ବୋଲି କୁହେ, and that is being promoted right now as millets, and we have launched the millet mission. Okay. And millets is being promoted to the self-help groups through the food processing industries and value addition in the Indian agro industry section to make it a global food. And so acceptance by United Nations, millet acceptance by United Nations is a big steps ahead to make this particular product more acceptable globally and giving good return to India. Fine. Then coming to the another domain in the domestic issue is called the guidelines to facilitate juvenile justice board. So juveniles. Recently, the Supreme Court has asked the national and state child rights body to issue guidelines to facilitate juvenile justice board in making the preliminary assessment. This is to be done for determining whether a child of 16 years of age and above can be tried as an adult for a heinous offense. This come after the Nirbhaya case because the major culprit in that case was a juvenile who was underage to be tried as a adult. Fine. So the amendment was made even if a person, if the child is in the juvenile age below 16 years, so he will can be treated as a adult for the heinous crime that he was involved in. Fine. So this the big development came after the Nirbhaya case. So, law on trying juveniles as an adult, according to section 15 of the Juvenile Justice Care and Protection Act, okay, where a child is 16 years of age or above has committed a heinous offense, the Juvenile Justice Board is required to conduct a preliminary assessment before taking a decision whether the child needs to be tried as an adult, okay, or as an adolescent. This or juvenile. This is taken with the regards to his mental and physical capacity to commit such offense, whether he is mentally and physically capable to commit such an offense. Ability to understand the consequences of the offense, whether he is able to have the idea to understand what are going to be the consequence of the offense that he has committed or going to commit, the circumstances in which he allegedly committed the offense, under what circumstances he committed that particular offense. These three are to be taken into consideration. Heinous offense is a crime for which the minimum punishment is 7 years of imprisonment. Okay, and at times it may go to death penalty. Time period assessment is required to be done within 3 months from the date of the its past production of the child before the Juvenile Justice Board. Fine. Prior to the 2015 amendment of the original Juvenile Justice Act, all children below the age of 18 years were treated as juveniles. So, in a liberal term. But this amendment in 2015 for the Nirbhaya case has brought a big change in our outlook towards the juveniles. Fine. The Juvenile Justice Board is composed of a judicial officer and two social workers. So, they will do the review. Okay. The consequences mentioned in section 15 of the Act would not just be confined to the immediate consequences, but it will also take within its ambit the consequences which may fall upon not only the victim as a result of the assault, but also on the family of the victim, on the child, his family, and that too not only immediate consequences but also in the far-reaching consequences in future. So the impact of that crime, what he has committed, is to be judged not only immediately but in the long term, and not only the impact on his family but the family of the victims who have suffered due to the act done by him, the heinous crime done by him. Okay, what happens when a juvenile is ordered to be treated as an adult? As per section 19 of the Amendment Act, the court can pass a decision on whether there is a need for trial of a child as an adult, or otherwise the case is then transferred before the children's court. A children's court has to be ensured that the child in conflict with the law is sent to a place of safety until he reaches the age of 21 years and is only then transferred to jail. The court can also order the conditional release of the child after he attains the age of 21. Two important protections do not extend to a child who has been tried as an adult. Okay, so protection from disqualification and ensure of conviction record after a reasonable period. These were the conditions set in the act. Right. If a child is tried as an adult, the sentence can go up to life imprisonment. But if a child is tried by a board of juvenile, the maximum sentence is only 3 years in a special home, not inside the jail. This is the provisions which need to be properly judged by the board, because if the juvenile or the boy has committed in crime, but he is in the juvenile age, so and committed a heinous crime, the Juvenile Justice Board will make an assessment whether he has the capacity to understand the crime, whether he or the situation under which he has committed the crime, or whether he is able to understand the impact or the repercussions of crime on the society and on himself and also on the victim. Fine. And after that, they will be giving the things. Then Juvenile Justice Care Protection Amendment Bill 2021, which is being right now as a bill set, empowerment of district magistrate. It's authorized district magistrate, including additional district magistrate, to issue adoption orders under Section 61 of the Juvenile Justice Act in order to ensure speedy disposal of cases and enhance accountability. The district magistrates have been further empowered to ensure smooth implementation as well as uh, garner synergized effort in favor of children in distress conditions. Any child care institutions shall be registered after considering the recommendation of the district magistrate. The district magistrate shall independently evaluate the functioning of the district child protection units, child welfare committee, juvenile justice board, specialized juvenile justice police units, and child care institutions, etc. Child welfare committee, the eligibility parameters for the appointment of the child welfare committee members have been redefined in the new legal provision. Right. Criteria for disqualification of the child right committee members have also been introduced to ensure that only the person capable of rendering quality service with requisite competence and integrity are appointed as child right commissions or child right council. Serious offences. Presently, there are three categories of appropriate, serious, and heinous defined under the Act, which were referred to while considering the case of children in conflict with the law. However, it was observed that some of the offences do not strictly fall under any of these categories. It has been decided that offences where the maximum sentence is more than 7 years imprisonment, but no minimum sentence has been prescribed, or minimum sentences of fewer than 7 years is provided, shall be treated as serious offences within this particular act. Right. So an amendment is being sought in the Juvenile Justice Act to make it more proactive, and also while uh, taking care of the child who is not an adult but an adolescent to be tried under juvenile. But in case he has committed any heinous crime, so the Juvenile Justice Board will judge whether he will be sent for trial as an adult for committing the crime. So after reviewing the situation, fine. Then the next topic is regarding the eco-sensitive zone. Okay, so recently the Kerala State Assembly passed a resolution regarding Supreme Court's directive regarding ecologically sensitive zone. The state of Karnataka is also opposing the centre's draft eco-sensitive area norms for the Western Ghats. So, what is this? The resolution passed by the Kerala or the central government to exclude the state's human habitation, farmland, and public institutions from the purview of the ecologically sensitive zone, which has been floated by the central government, and no intervention in that 1 kilometer radius. The assembly also called for the sector to notify the zone by considering the state government's proposal that marked the ESZ eco-sensitive zone a zero around 10 protected area of the state, urging the Union government to enact law for the purpose. And in Karnataka, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has issued a draft notification that demarcated large part of Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Maharashtra are eco-sensitive areas. Among these states, Karnataka contains the lion's share of the notified area in the Western Ghats at 20,668 square kilometers. So, if that is brought under the sensitive zone, so no developmental activity can be undertaken or permitted in that area, and whatever has been built have to be demolished. The Supreme Court has directed all states to have mandatory 1 kilometer ESZ from the demarcated boundary of every protected forest land, national park, and wildlife sanctuary. 1 kilometer distance. This is the most important aspect. But each 1 kilometer distance from forest land, national park, and wildlife sanctuaries. It also stated that no new permanent structure mining will be permitted within the ESZ. The order will not affect farming. Guidelines list the activity prohibited in the ESZ, such as commercial mining, sawmill, commercial use of wood, etc., apart from regulated activity like felling of the trees. If the existing ESZ goes beyond 1 kilometer buffer zone, or it may statutory investment instrument prescribed as higher limit, then such extent boundaries shall prevail. It held the principal chief conservator of forest PCCF and Home Secretary of the state responsible for compliance of the judgment, because to implement it more forcefully. So the Supreme Court has given the order that had made the PCCF and the Home Secretary of the state concerned states responsible for implementing this order of the apex court in the country. About the new draft notification for the Western Ghats, the draft notification demarcated 46,832 square kilometer in the five states of Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Goa, and Tamil Nadu as eco-sensitive area in the Western Ghats. No human intervention is allowed in those areas. According to the notification, the concerned state government are responsible for monitoring and enforcing the provisions of the notification. Fine. Restrictions. The draft notification states that there shall be a complete ban on mining, quarrying, and sand mining in the area which are declared as economic sensitive zone or eco-sensitive zones. Fine. ESA or eco-sensitive areas. All existing mines have to be phased out within the 5 years from the date of issue of the final notification or expiry of the existing mining lease, which is ever there. It also bans the setting up of a new national thermal project and expansion of existing plants in the sensitive area, which will uh, be coming under the restrictions. Order bans all new red category industry. There are activity that have to have a pollution index score of 60 and above, such as petrochemical manufacturing, coal liquefaction, etc. They have been banned. The construction of new township and area development projects will also be prohibited in the areas of the eco-sensitive zones. Activity that are not restricted. All existing healthcare establishment shall continue in the ecological sensitive area, and so will new hydropower projects on the basis of environmental impact assessment, which will also include public hearing from the project affected people. Then orange category industries such as which are pollution index score of 41 to 59, such as jute processing, white industry are considered non-polluting like chalk making will also be allowed with strict compliance of the environmental regulations. So these are allowed, and the new draft will definitely make the activity more activities while protecting the environment and ecology of the area, and the ecological sensitivity of the area is well maintained. Then coming to the questions. Okay, so question number one. Consider the following statement about wildfires. Heat wave do not play any role in wildfires. It will play a role. UNEP recently called on global government to adopt a new fire-ready formula. Definitely, approximately 22% of the forest cover in India fall from the highly and extremely fire-prone category. So, 2 and 3 are correct. One is not correct because heat wave do not play any role in wildfire. Is wrong. Heat wave play a very important role in spread up or starting of spread of wildfires. It is a common term to categorize small seed grass that are often termed nutricereals as dryland cereals. India, Nigeria, China are the largest producer of millet in the world, accounting for 50% of the global production. So both these informations are correct. Fine. Then consider the following statement regarding juvenile justice. Juvenile Justice Care and Protection Act was introduced in the Parliament in 2015. It allowed the trial of juveniles in conflict with the law, the age group of 16 to 18 years of as adults. The act was introduced foster care in India. So three are correct. Consider the following statement about the eco-sensitive zones. Okay, eco-sensitive zones help in situ conservation, means conservation in the natural habitat. That is called in situ, which deals with the conservation of the endangered species in its natural habitat. These areas are meant to act as transition zone from the area requiring higher protection to those requiring less protection. Okay, eco-sensitive zones or ecologically fragile areas are areas in India notified by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So all the statements are correct. Then consider the following statement. It is a slow progressing indigenous disease caused by protozoans parasite about Kalajar disease. Okay, so it is by the protozoa. Then the parasite are transmitted through the bites of infected female uh, sandflies. Fine. So sandfly is the major carrier of the disease called Kalajar. Okay, so both the statements are correct. With reference to cloud shedding, consider the following statement. Hydroscopic cloud shedding slow down the droplet condensations in the gaseous cloud, leading to production of small droplets that start to condense. This is wrong. Okay. Uh, Glaciogenic cloud shedding trigger ice production in upper cooled clouds, leading to the precipitation. This is what is the right one. Okay. Then coming to six. Okay. Fruit bats and pteropodidae family are considered to be natural hosts of the Marburg virus. There is treatment to neutralize the virus, but a range of blood products and immune therapies are currently under development. Okay, the Marburg virus is transmitted to people from fruits bat. There is no possibility of human-to-human transmission. There is possibility of human-to-human transmission is also there. Right. With reference to Shanghai Cooperation Organization structure, consider the following statement. SCO Secretariat has two permanent bodies located in Beijing and Tashkent. This is right. Headquarters of the SCO Council issue pertaining to day-to-day activity of the organization. It is not. Okay. The Foreign Minister of Council is the supreme decision-making body of SCO. It is the head of the government meeting on the foreign minister level. So, because this is acted by the head of the government of the state, that is the highest decision-making body. Okay. The okay. Refers to extend fund facility. Okay. The exchange fund facility is established to provide assistance to countries experiencing serious payment imbalances. Okay. It is correct. The exchange endowment facility or extended fund facility can be availed when there is structural impediments to or slow down and an inherently weak balance of payment position. That is also right. The EFF generally are formulated on a precautionary basis in anticipation of a future balance of payment crisis. This is not right. Okay. Uh, Delhi law mainstreams legal aid to the marginalized seeking legal help by connecting them with the panel buyers. Fine. National Legal Service Authority (NALSA) will provide service of lawyers in each district exclusively for the Delhi law programs. So both of these are correct. The students, we have discussed some topics and some MCQs related to this particular this topic, and some MCQ which are outside to test your knowledge base as well as to empower you for the upcoming examinations. So thank you for watching. Thanks a lot from Vanik.